I see too little really radically committed towards creating the new paradigm, whether we call it regenerative paradigm or you were talking about conscious capitalism. And a lot of them really just kind of getting the mana, but abusing it almost towards just being more successful. So I know this is a complex topic, but just curious on your own thoughts.
It is complex. Just like when we saw the first movement of this from people who had long-term lineages and were practitioners just for the locals to charlatans coming out from everywhere, there's same things happening now just with the rest of the world. And so around this idea of actual awakening. So you can use these plants to increase narcissism. You can use the plants to increase the ego. You can fortify the ego with it. You can train the ego with it. If you don't bring in the teachings and the trainings that ultimately awaken a person to a fundamental shift from being completely brain dominant to brain heart balanced, you will get that increase in ego and that increase in narcissism. It's a natural effect of this. What I think about it long term, though, isn't the individual and what that person's doing. I actually don't think it's a bad thing to have an acceleration of the predatory form of capitalism take place, because that is a pressure. It's like an evolutionary pressure on consciousness to ultimately have to out-innovate it. And what will happen is ultimately awakening around the world in first sporadic locations, but that can become ultimately the next wave beyond it. And that the innovators and creators who right now might be innovating and creating, we don't hear of how they're utilizing these awakenings to be able to do this, are actually making those changes. And I see it a lot in the Web3 world, blockchain world, NFT world, the use of psychedelics as a way of creating really next generation geometry, next generation computer science, next generation networks, and what could become the internet of the future. So I see this idea that could create pressure. Obviously, in the minute, in the right now, it's kind of a negative aspect of it. I also think that aspect of consciousness where people are becoming that greater version of the narcissist is very short-lived. It's a branch of the evolutionary tree that Earth itself ultimately forces to die out, simply because it can't sustain itself. You can't have the species competing with the same species about a kind of external growth and development, whether it be business growth and development or financial growth and development. Ultimately, the Earth outpaces that kind of paradigm, not that paradigm outpaces the Earth. It's a complete misunderstanding of the use of the Earth. The Earth is permitting it. Right now, the Earth permits this kind of capitalism. The moment the Earth won't permit it anymore, it can't happen anymore. So I was actually watching a video last night on Elon Musk where he was describing the importance of moving to renewable energy, but at the same time, he was saying the impact that they made is that all the car companies now are making electric vehicles, but there's still such a wide range and necessitated range to go. But at the same time, I think it's not just Elon doing that, it's the Earth doing that through Elon. Right. So the Earth is forcing the other, just like the Earth created the pollution, the Earth is also now forcing the change. So you bring what you're doing, you bring what I'm doing, you bring another 100 of us, what we're doing, and the work that we're going to do with the next 10,000, 15,000 people, the seeds within those people that represent the change makers are going to be awakened, and they're going to come out of that. And they're going to then create a ripple effect that starts to create that transformation and allow that notion of greater consciousness to what we're doing.